Here we go.
No Nation. Welcome into another episode of the Renegade Rundown with yours truly, George Georgitis, aka Renegade Report 1 on X, at the Renegade Report right here on YouTube. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and do that. Hit that like button. We really appreciate you guys. Huge show ahead. Gigantic recruiting weekend. We just had several Noles locking down their recruitment, several recruits setting commitment dates, putting final twos, final threes out there. Going to run through and pretty much make a lot of predictions on these 2025 guys, put our quote unquote crystal trophies we put in here at the Renegade Report. We also have ACC, their collapse kind of being imminent, some new rumors out there, but kind of a consensus around everybody in the nation starting to agree that, okay, this thing is coming to an end. Florida State is getting the hell out of there. But of course, we've got my beautiful co-host, as always, Jen Santee, aka at Jen Knoll. Well, actually, Jen Knoll 13 is her screen name, but at Jen Santee 1890, you can find her on X. And my other co-host, at Deshawn Adams 18, you can find him, our good friend Deshawn. We'll get it started right off. Deshawn, I believe, has a video lined up for you guys. Florida State got a bit of an unexpected commit. On one of our last shows, I told you guys that Diabell had committed to Texas, and just reading the tea leaves, you know, when you're in on a guy and something like that happens out of the blue, it's usually for a reason. Lo and behold, a couple days later, Brady Smeagol, the 2026 #1 quarterback in the nation, commits to the Florida State Seminoles, and Florida State has their quarterback for the future as for now. And this dude is an absolute freak show. Well, as we look at a little bit of his highlights here, how are we feeling? I guess we can start off with Deshawn since he shared the video for us.
I mean, it just continues to roll. You get Luke, you get Jackson, you turn around with Trammell, and then you following up the 26th class with Brady, and you keep that high level quarterback, elite 11 level quarterback in the fold, and you continue to build your class around that key signal caller. I mean, this is a great way to start off the 2026 class, man. We're one of the best. And of the guys I've talked to that are on that side of the country, they say he's one of them ones, basically.
Another one of these California quarterbacks. What do you think, Jen?
I love it. I love California quarterbacks because, I mean, I don't know what it is. They're usually way more prepared. I don't know if it's just the system that they run in the high schools in California. I do love me some California quarterbacks. So I'm super excited about this one. I'm also excited about any quarterback that wants to come to Florida State. So I'm loving, Trammell, and now this one's in is it Spiegel or Smeagol?
Smeagol.
Smeagol. Okay. I keep wanting to say Spiegel, and I don't want to mispronounce his name. So maybe I'm thinking shopping. Maybe it's giving me shopping vibes, maybe a little bit. So. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Just like I am usually excited about quarterbacks that want to come play for Mike Norvell because they usually do a very good job, and I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, a big time commit. You add him to Darion Williams, the athlete, Ephraim White, the wide receiver, and Darrell Bell III, the safety. And Florida State currently has the #1 class in all of the 2026 class there, according to 247. He, according to the composite, he's a #5 quarterback in the nation, #9 player overall in California, and the #53 overall recruit in the nation. But yeah, I'm pretty like across the board. A lot of guys really have him as their top quarterback. I truly believe he is the top quarterback in the class, and just a huge get. You cannot, you can't over kind of compensate for how big this is for Florida State, because even when you want to look at it, and you named it, Luke Kromenhoek, Trammell Jones, two guys that Florida State offered when they were either 3 stars, or I mean, Luke may not even had his 3rd star yet when Florida State first offered him. And both of these guys, you see Luke climb all the way to a borderline 5-star, and then you see the same thing out of Trammell Jones, but
going up.
That was elite evaluation. Those guys' bodies changed, their games changed. They really had a lot of growth. Both guys that trained under Denny Thompson coming up, and you really see that come through, working, one at Benedictine with his father, and then of course Trammell over there at Mandarin, having amazing wide receivers like Jamie French to throw to, being a part of SFE, and all that, everything that comes with it. To get a guy like Brady Smeagol, he's been a star forever. Like, he's one of these recruits that's like, these teams are willing to offer, whatever, come up with $3 million or whatever, all these crazy NIL figures and things like that. Is this kind of like, if you can see this one through, he might be the biggest recruit in Norvell's entire, tenure up to that point, if you can get a guy like that, I think.
Yeah, I agree. If you look at the trajectory with him, he's already ranked as a high-level quarterback. So the evaluation is there. His chance to climb even higher than the other two prospects that we've gotten in the last year's cycle and that we're working on in this year's cycle. His trajectory is actually at a higher ceiling right now. So yeah, I mean, it looks like you're starting off 26. You just continue to use the pun, climb. You're climbing up to a different level now.
Facts. And Immaculate there in the chat says, I wonder, something along the lines, does he think he'll be able to play some road games in California? And funnily enough, yeah, he'll have an opportunity if we're in the ACC for a couple of years, or if we go to the Big Ten, to possibly go out there to the Coliseum and play one of those Californian teams out there. So one way or the other. We were talking about that a little bit off air, and we will get into the conference realignment as that hits like a fever pitch. What we think is going to happen, SEC, Big Ten, when it's going to happen, all that stuff. But you'll have to wait for the second half of that show. We can dive off of Brady Smeagol into 2025, which is the kind of the biggest main attraction for this weekend. It was the biggest official visit weekend of the summer for Florida State. They really tried to get as many people as they could in here. We had several developments. I guess we can go with the commits first that we already have. Javian Hilson comes out and says, I'm 100% no. I'm shutting it down. The Cocoa Beach, Florida defensive end, the number one weak side defensive end in the entire nation, 6'3.5", 235 pounds. He's done. He's all no. That's not worth quite as much as it used to be, but still, for the main part, when somebody says, hey, I'm shutting down my recruitment, they are pretty locked in. And yeah, for him, it doesn't get much better. For John Papuchis to get a guy like him, like, it's what people have been screaming for. He is that top of the line, Marvin Jones Jr., whoever you want to talk about, straight out of high school, not a transfer. So for him to lock things down, huge for this class, and could mean a lot for, getting guys. It may hurt you with a Zion Grady. We can get into that into a minute. But yeah, how are y'all feeling about Javian Hilson shutting it down?
For me, I'm glad. I'm happy. I can tell you now, the school that was on him the hardest was Texas. Texas was trying to get his commitment, and to get him to shut it down is really a good spot to start with. As far as position of need, we know they're addressing the trenches, and this is a great prospect to start with.
Facts on top of facts. The other side of the trenches, you have another guy shut it down. Solomon Thomas, the number one interior offensive lineman in the nation, has said that, I'm 1000% no. I'm also shutting it down. And I didn't even realize this till I just thought about it. You're talking about, you've got number one interior O lineman, number one weak side defensive end. Wow. I mean, coming, from hearing all the talk, from everything we've been preaching about, just wait, the defensive line, the offensive line, it's going to be about it next year. We can start with Jen. How big is that to have bookends, one of the better offensive linemen, the best interior offensive lineman in the entire class, and the defensive end, number one defensive, and shut down the recruitment and can kind of be cornerstones of your Tribe 25 class?
Well, number one, I'm going to say with Solomon Thomas, I mean, Miami and Florida had both penciled him into their class. He was the flip on watch. He was about to do it any minute. Miami was about to take another from Florida State, even though they can't win any real games and are worthless on the field in every sense of the word. But I'm really happy to see that he did shut it down. Again, I will preface this with wake me when they all sign, and then I will be way more excited about it. But because we've all been burned before. But no, I mean, hearing that kids shut it down, I do love to hear that, especially out of these two, with these two huge bookends on each side of the ball. And I think Again, with Solomon Thomas, that's one you really needed just with Hilson. Like, these are huge ones. These are the trenches. This is where you win and lose football games. And you want these huge stars. And there's a reason that they're wanted. It's a reason that Texas was trying to get him to shut it down. And there's a reason that Miami had penciled him into their class, because they thought a cheap payday for a year before he could transfer again would actually make his head turn. But he decided that he actually wanted to compete for a championship. Good for you.
Boom. Perfectly put. Perfectly put. And that takes us to the last two commits. Ethan Pritchard, he's been pretty quiet. I think we're pretty solid there. So the other guy that's kind of been in the news, Tramel Jones, quarterback at Mandarin High, been committed for a long time, as we just kind of talked about. We've addressed some of the kind of rumors and the stories that's been put out there. James Coleman over on Den Media Group and Spear Addicts with Chris have talked about it. But persistent narrative that he's entertaining Florida, doing this, doing that. I've consistently said, like, look, Florida is desperate. So, yeah, do they have money? They've got money. Are they going to throw NIL deals? Are they going to try to woo his parents, woo everybody? Are they going to throw their kitchen?
Sorry, go ahead.
Throw the kitchen sink at him? Like, what? You know, they're going to go for it all. They're going to try to get the guy. And look, you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with him, you know, experiencing this process, going through and, you know, kind of looking at all his options. Personally, I'm not worried about Florida. Like, everything in my gut tells me Florida is going to go out there and win 5 or 6 games tops this year. And it's going to be, okay, am I going to go be a part of this nightmare and a changing coaching staff and this and that? Where I'm going to worry is if, okay, somehow Florida pulls 9 wins out of the hat and all of a sudden it looks like they're going to tear the world up, or they fire their coach halfway through the season and get that shithead from Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, over there. Something like that happens, I could see it. Now, you also see Florida State sign a Brady Smeagol, or not sign, get a commitment from him to lock up things long term. You just brought in Luke and another 4-star guy as a walk-on. So it's not like Florida State is desperate. It's just in a different position. And personally, I don't think Tramel is the kind of kid that is going to let any of that stuff sway him. I think he's going to examine his options, go on all his visits, everything of that nature. But I honestly believe he's 100% Noel and is going to be a Noel and end up in the class. But if he doesn't, it won't be in the world. If he does leave, it'll be because he got so aggravated with all the BS or whatever the case may be. So just don't keep wishing for something and keep saying something's going to happen till you get it, till it comes true. And then you can say how happy you are. But I'm sure you guys have comments on that before we move on to the next ones. We'll start getting into some forward-looking stuff.
I'll keep it short on Tramel. I just say, if you know anything on the timeline, get the ball to the fullback, and that's all we needed to do. So it is what it is. That's it.
Damn.
Yeah, I think that if anybody really thinks that a kid is going to leave a Mike Norvell type coach for Billy Napier and that Florida mess, I do have some beachfront property here in Memphis that overlooks the Gulf of Mexico. I can sell you for about $1,000. It's a really good deal. You don't even need to finance it. You can just send me on Venmo $1,000 and I can sell you this beautiful, beautiful clear water view. Anyway, I'm just saying, no, I don't think you leave to go play for Florida when you could play at Florida State at this point right now, especially as a quarterback. I mean, that's insanity. Or sign an NIL deal with Florida right now. That would be absolute insanity. So no, and I don't think this kid is insane. So I'm going to go with the logical decision here. No, I'm not worried about it.
I see somebody in the chat talking about Florida State being number 70 in recruiting. Get all your jokes off. It's pretty funny. You know, it's the same thing that happened last year. It's what we're sitting here about to go through and tell you all the different guys that are going to commit. We'll look for Florida State to land at least probably around 10 guys here in the next 2 weeks. And I can promise you we'll be well clear of number 70. That's for damn sure. But as we move on down the list to the next recruit, who's somebody fun we can talk about. Let's talk a little bit about Tavion Wallace. This is a guy, big time guy, top 30, 40 player in the nation, linebacker that would just be huge. It'd be the biggest recruit Randy Shannon has hauled in since he's been here. It'd be the best linebacker recruit that Florida State has signed in years and years. He's the type of guy that usually goes to Alabama. Just, put it for what it is. If you can get this guy in here, he could be just an absolute freak, a game changer. And we have found out that he will be committing, I believe, on July 2nd, which falls just perfectly in line. I believe that's a Friday, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll have to pull up the calendar, but July 2nd, July 3rd, July 4th. Look for a lot of commitments. And I'm going to go ahead and put my crystal trophy in. I believe Javian Hilson commits to the Florida State Seminoles on July 2nd. But how are you guys feeling on that one?
As we've already discussed with Tavion, he is a priority at a position of need, and I don't see any reason why right now we're in the driver's seat for his commitment. I don't see any reason why we don't get that commitment.
And I believe I just said Javian Hilson. I meant to say
Yeah,
Tavian Wallace.
Tavion
So
Wallace,
excuse me,
yeah.
Tavian Wallace. We were speaking about. What do you think, Jen?
Well, I don't know. Again, wake me when they sign, wake me when they commit. I don't know. It does look like we're in the driver's seat right now. I just don't have a lot of information on him other than what I hear from other people, not really as much from the Florida State side, just from what I'm hearing, like offline, and not just talking to you guys, but I don't know. I do think that Florida State is right up there. So it would be a nice get for sure. Again, I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, again, July 2nd at 6:30 p.m. He'll be making his commitment and choosing between Florida State, Georgia, Florida, and Arkansas. Pretty much a Florida State Georgia battle, and just with everything I've read into it, everything that I know to this point, as Jen said, even though she didn't give a great or didn't give you a one way or another, I have heard that it is all Florida State in that Florida State Georgia battle. So we'll see. It would be a shock to me if he picks Georgia. I think Tavian Wilson. I cannot say his name. Tavian Wallace from Wayne County, Georgia, is going to be another one of these top 10, top 5, players in the entire state of Georgia to go on to be Florida State Seminoles. Another.
Again, one more thing. I know I didn't give a direct answer because I don't want to get killed. I don't have as much confidence as George does in this one. I think these fights with Georgia right now, yeah, I'm just being negative. Maybe
we won 3 against them head to head last year. They tried to give Luke a bag at the end of the year last year with his commitment. We got Landon Thomas from Georgia, so it's possible. You're gonna have to win. You're gonna have to win these battles. You're gonna have to win these battles. And these kids are from South Georgia, Southwest Georgia. It's not like they're from up in the Atlanta, Athens area. A lot of these kids grew up, and the games that come on aren't just Georgia. I live in the state, so I know this area. A lot of these kids, they do see FSU, and if we're winning, we can get those kids. So
I mean, that used to be like the domain. I totally get that. Like, I'm not disrespecting that at all. It's just I believe that Georgia will turn up the heat on this kid at some point in the year. Yeah, and I just, again, if we get him on the 2nd, this is going to be a till signing day effort, and you could end up losing it in the end as well. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not trying to be an ass, and I'm not trying to get anybody upset. Just trying to be realistic.
No one's upset. It's just I understand.
No, I mean fans might be when you say stuff like that. That's why I said I don't know.
Well, you just said you have no idea, and then you have a strong opinion. You think he's going to Georgia, so it's like I get it. You don't want to get killed, but we're just talking about when he's committing. We're predicting who he's going to commit to. But yeah, you're absolutely right. That is how it is. No matter who commits on July 2nd, June 30th, it is going to be a battle. That is modern day recruiting. But yeah, Florida State has had absolutely zero trouble going in and signing top 10 kids out of Georgia. Like Georgia is going to get their fair share, but there's a top 50 in Georgia. Georgia can't sign the whole top 50. So it's just about who they're willing to put their resources in. And yeah, there's a chance they could go all in on Tavian Wallace and decide, he's going to be that centerpiece, and that could be it. But moving on, I think we're at 2 Florida State, 1 Georgia there. So we'll see what happens. There was a pair of guys that they keep getting mentioned a lot together, very similar of build. One is a commit to Florida in Jalen Wiggins, and the other is a 4-star D lineman as well in Myron Charles. Both 6'4", 275, 295 pounds. Both, top 20 defensive linemen in the nation. I really came a long ways around on both of these guys. I'm not super confident. I don't have any inside connections on Myron Charles, but I just feel like he's going to end up being a null. And a really good chance to flip Jalen Wiggins. I don't know if he's even made his decision yet, but he keeps showing up on campus. Where are you guys on these two? And I think you might have some film on Charles.
Yes, I got film on Charles. All you gotta do is bring it up. There we go. Let it play. You just bring it up to the stage. There we go. I'm actually high on Charles, to be honest with you. I like his film. Once again, feels need, run stuffer, 3 technique. I really do like his film, but going on to Win, the other kid, Georgia kid. It's another Georgia kid. So we're going to be in battles for these kids, and a lot of them in the state of Georgia. This one is out of Port Charlotte, Florida. And Charles showed up. A little bit more of a laid back kind of kid. You know, he is who he is. I heard about things on his visit. His visit went well. Everything went well, but seems more like a business kid. You know, he knows what he wants. He ain't playing a lot of the games. He's going to take his visits and make his decision. But I think Florida State does sit really decent in a decent spot for him.
Yeah, Port Charlotte, Florida, defensive lineman. And in my opinion, like you said, that kind of business mentality, nonsense, not really about the razzle-dazzle stuff. To me, that really plays into Florida State style and kind of what they do there. So it's why they have so much success in the portal. And yeah, hopefully that can work. I just, he has a crystal ball prediction in, I believe, 1. I'm not sure if he has anything as far as on 3 goes, but yeah, I'm just all in on him being a null. You brought up Kevin Wynn. For him, I feel I got a little bit of that Georgia pit in my stomach that Jen has, maybe more, or if not Georgia, somewhere else on Kevin Wynn. That one we'll have to see a little bit more how it plays out. But really confident on Myron Charles, and I'm so I'll predict him. I'll give him a Crystal Trophy from Renegade Report. Jalen Wiggins, I'm about 50-50 on that flip. Is there anybody out of that group? Have you heard anything on those 3, Jen?
No, I mean, yeah, I think Myron Charles is I have the most confidence in that one. And then with Wynn, I think it's I would say the field as opposed to being confident that he goes to Florida State. Just for me. That would just be me.
Very fair there. For sure. And I saw somebody in the chat talking about they're ready for that Josh Petty. Josh Petty had another great trip, but unfortunately, he is not one of these guys that's going to be the main focus of the day. Some of these guys that we think we could possibly get to commit here in the next couple of weeks. He is committing. He has set a commitment date, but it's August 12th. So you're going to have to wait a little bit on Josh Petty, guys. But we can talk about him. I mean, I think Florida State, they have the lead, but there's still some work to do. I know there's going to be a lot of that in between now and August 12th. There's going to be a dead period. So I don't know. I'm not sure what they can do if there's any visits whatsoever between now and then, or what's going to really make his mind up. But I think Florida State has done just about as much as they possibly could do. Really, that whole bunch of guys. We can get into Peyton Joseph next, a guy that people pretty much considered it a flip from Florida to Florida State when it happened, but it wasn't. He decommitted. He never ended up committing, but he will be committing on July 4th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just confirm that.
I do have confidence in that one. I will say that.
That's a 2-team race. That's a 2-team race between us and Memphis, I believe, right now that he has listed. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's the breaking news there.
Someone I spoke with at Memphis today is about 100% it's going to be Florida State, and they don't even think. In fact, I don't even think they've talked to him today or have in the last couple of days.
There's a lot of ties for him at FSU too, so it's a lot of things going in. Just like Petty, it's a lot of things that play into his recruitment that plays in our favor.
Yeah, definitely look for fireworks there as he drops that top 2 of Memphis and Florida State. We just saw Florida lose out one of these Memphis battles. So we really need to make sure that we bring this one home that weekend.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that way we can have the memes for the timeline. So definitely need to make sure we're doing
Hill
that
is
one.
about to have like a billboard in Memphis. That's their highest ranked recruit ever in the history of the program is Antoine Hill. and they got him off the backs of Florida. I can't. I really can't. Y'all, I can't. I really can't. A quarterback, and then they're talking about Tramel Jones. Again, we can't go back in this conversation. Antoine Hill looked at Florida and said, no thanks, I'm going to go to Memphis. But people think Tramel Jones is really about to say, you know what? I'm going to leave Mike Norvell, and I think I'm going to flip over to Florida. No. That's insane. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
I agree. It's hilarious. So yeah, we need to finish that up, and that would be fun. Let's go to our next one here. I think this is one of your favorite players, Deshawn. Shamar Arnaud has set his date for June 26th. What are you hearing there? Are you confident? Is he a null or what?
Yeah, he's one that I'm confident on. I think he's out of the upper Atlanta area, I believe. Out of Georgia.
And that'll be Wednesday. So look for this one on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm high on that commitment. Believe he and we know a few others that are gonna be committed soon, but that's one I'm definitely high on. I got probably about an 8 out of 10 on my crystal ball for him to FSU.
Shamar Arnaud, you heard it here first. Look for him to commit on Wednesday. I'm not going to put my crystal trophy on that just because I don't know as much about this one as Deshawn does, but you heard it from the man here, one of his first big predictions. So we'll hold him to that one. The kid is a 6'2.5", 170 pound cornerback. So, I mean, bam, right there, what you want. And another kid out of Georgia, number 43 kid in the state of Georgia. So like I was saying earlier, there's 50 damn good ball players in Georgia. Georgia can only sign 30 of them, so this would be a perfect one to sign. Moving on next, unless you had something on Arnaud, Jen.
Yeah, I'm good. You guys go ahead.
So on to the next group here. Byron Lewis did not come out. The American Heritage running back did not come out and give a commitment date that I know of. But what he did do is quote tweet our good friend Gregory Zay Thomas, also out of American Heritage, who set his commitment date up for June 30th. He said, "You do it, brother, and I'll do it too. As long as you commit, I'm committing." And Greg Thomas has a top 2 of Clemson and Florida State. Well, Clemson isn't even on Byron Lewis's list, so we'll see if Byron Lewis holds true to what he said. But I'm like 98% confident. 4-star safety Gregory Zay Thomas commits to Florida State June 30th, and that running back Byron Lewis is not far behind him. Are y'all in agreement? Have y'all heard anything on those two?
Nothing more than what you've already said, George.
Yep.
Same thing.
I mean, I've heard that Byron Lewis was actually kind of a lean for the last couple of weeks, to be honest. So that doesn't surprise me. And actually, it's kind of cool. Like, let's do it.
Bam. I don't even know how many. Let's go down the line and see how many commits we've committed so far. Let's see. 1, we've got Peyton Joseph, Tavion Wallace, Myron Charles, Greg Thomas, Shamar Arnaud, and Byron Lewis. What is that? 7 we've got. We're up to. Yeah. So that's 7 guys right here at the Renegade Report that we're extremely confident that you could have commit here in the next couple weeks. Let's go through a couple that we're maybe not quite so confident in. Just to be fair, Dontrell Glover is a guy that Florida State spent quite a bit of time on, quite a bit of resources on, but never got to that stage where we could get him to be here for this final weekend. He's committing tomorrow. I think he goes. I'm not even sure the other school. I believe it's Bama. But are we in agreement there? Does anybody think we have a shot of getting a commitment from Dontrell Glover tomorrow?
No, Glover. I don't know if it's Bama. I think it may be, ironically, Georgia. It could be Georgia for Glover. But yeah, that's the name. That's the school I'm hearing for him. No, I'm not high on him as far as right now, unless something changes late.
Yeah, he's all Georgia.
Yeah,
all Georgia. As I flip a page in my notes there. So I already know what Jen thinks about that one. Vernell Brown III. I'm so torn about this. I don't know if I'm sure you saw this. It's one of the coolest videos, one of the coolest pictures out of the entire weekend. Mike Norvell and the staff they had enough players there to run a full game, but they got the entire offense. Tramel Jones Jr., 5 offensive line lot, 3 wide receivers, a running back. They had a whole offense back there lined up for the photo shoot. And Vernell Brown was the one, I believe, that took the picture, or either that or tweeted it out and retweeted it. Man, that was the dopest shit I've seen in a long time on a visit. Even players, like even people from other teams were like quote tweeting that and saying like, oh shit, they're onto something right there. But I just, as nice as Vernell Brown III is talking, he came out and said Mike Norvell's his favorite coach and all of college football, all these things with his dad and his uncle and his whole family, and just how long he's been on that Florida train. Everything he said, I took it as kind of like tongue in cheek, him hoping to flip Trammell. Like, yeah, we'd make a good pair at Florida, is like what he's thinking. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm not buying it. Maybe I'll be totally wrong and he ends up being a Florida State Seminole, but I'm curious what y'all think about Vernell Brown as well.
It was giving me Jeremiah Smith vibes. That's what it was giving me. Like, Mike Norvell is the best coach. Oh my God. No, nobody's buying this crap. Sorry. Go have fun in Florida, win 4 games next year, enjoy yourself, and then get a new coach that you have to reintroduce yourself to. Have fun. That's what I think.
Him being a 2-time legacy it's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. It's things like that. It drives you up a wall. It makes you like, why do I even have that person? And there's always a person or two every year that you see on these official visits that you just know isn't going to commit. They're the ops, but it's like, it's just something you have to do. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to say he's the ops. We'll see how it turns out. But
then you can get
if he's your favorite coach, you should go.
But then you can get Earl Little Jr. when he gets in the transfer portal. You were never getting that kid when he was in high school. It was not going to happen. If he was going to go anywhere other than Alabama, it was going to be Miami. You knew it. I knew it. He knew it. Everybody knew it. But then he saw Miami's coaching staff play and said, I'm not transferring to that shithole. So let me go somewhere where I can actually win some games and not be embarrassed on national TV because we don't know the victory formation. So I totally get that. And I think that's probably the reason you have him there, right? You have him there. You build up that relationship and everything, because we all know it. Billy's going to get fired. Okay. That kid may want to transfer, may want out of his letter of intent. So you keep the relationship up. That's why he's there. That's why you put the time in.
Beautifully said. And I agree. I was actually just talking to, I won't even throw any names out there, but I was just talking to a friend on the phone, and that was a conversation we had. Yeah, maybe you don't get him this year, but who knows? You may get him out of the portal in a year or two. And that maybe they could get together that way. So I've kind of been controlling this thing here as far as commits. I'm going to turn it over to you, Deshawn, let you bring up anybody. The last person I think I haven't brought up here is Hollis Davison. Now, we talked Josh Petty. I think he's all null. That would actually make 8 commitments that we've given you guys altogether. But Hollis Davison, are you committed? Are you convinced he's going to be a null? How are you feeling on them? I don't know how serious they are on him or what.
This one, I'm like you. I'm a little kind of iffy on. I know this is the one that recently decommitted from Auburn. I mean, I know a lot of crystal balls of, projections have us with a shot to take his commitment if he commits, but I'm not really sure how high he is on the actual board to make it it's a committable offer, but will they take that commitment early? But I do think he is enough of a priority to take at that position of need. I like his film too, but I do think he's a good player, good tight end, would be a fit place of need for us. But I'm not sure, to be honest with you, to answer your question, how high on the board he is just right now to commit early.
And that's how we get down. We're not going to bullshit you guys. We're going to give you guys exactly what we do know, don't know, things like that. But that's it. That's the majority of the guys as far as that I know of. There's linebacker Zadrius Rainey-Sell that was here this past week. There's Joshua Moore, another big guy that we want to get. But yeah, is there anybody else that you have any idea in kind of this time frame? Anyone's maybe that aren't on the tip of the tongue, guys? Who's a recruit maybe that y'all have on your mind that I didn't bring up?
Well, actually, I was going to bring him up. You just did.
Okay, we'll run with it.
He got a prediction. Joshua Moore got a projection to go to Florida. They kind of crystal balled into there, but you know how that works. Those crystal balls kind of come out during visits to other programs. But outside of Joshua Moore, we discussed it in a production. It's Ty Haywood.
Yeah, there we go. We can talk about him
Yeah,
and Zion
yeah,
Grady real quick if y'all
yeah,
want.
yeah. That's one I'm interested in watching. To be honest, the Oklahoma and Texas people I'm hearing are saying that it's been Bama, but then I'm also hearing that he may, he may hold off on any decision right now. And if we can get him to push it back after this visit, it gives us, a good position to keep working and chipping away. But right now, I am here honestly, Bama leads. I can say that with confidence that Bama leads for his commitment. What about you?
Yeah, going back to Joshua Moore, just so everybody knows, he's going to be committing Tuesday, which will be the 25th. And I think that's one of those things when we tell you guys that you don't have to have, contacts, you don't have to have inside knowledge. We've been telling you guys for a year now that look out for certain dates and things like that. So the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th. Okay, that's a dead giveaway. That's a ringer that maybe it's somebody else. The July 1st, July 2nd, it's not saying that's 100% Florida State's, they're going to get them if they say that, but take that information and do with it what you will. So yeah, Joshua Moore predicted there to Florida, but plenty of other guys. Zion Grady is a guy that they really went after, a guy that they want a whole lot. He got a crystal ball to Ohio State. Today, I believe, that came out. Florida State, they really, really put a good effort in, and he's going to be one that, we've talked about. We can lose guys just because a guy commits to us on July 1st, 2nd, 3rd. That doesn't mean they're signed. We've seen it. Last year, I think we only lost really one guy. We were only, last year, but everybody's going to lose a guy or two. It's just how it is. We're going to flip guys from people. It isn't guaranteed. So just because Zion Grady signs or commits to Ohio State here in a couple of weeks, if that were to happen, it's not over with. Florida State very much could have a chance. You never know what defensive coordinator leaves and goes here. Florida State, you're looking at a team that could possibly put 3 years in a row, first round defensive ends. Really, really beautiful things. So nothing's over, nothing's said and done with. But I'm really confident that these 8 that we have circled end up committing here in the next couple of weeks, next month, as well as 2 or 3 surprises that nobody's even talking about right now because they would be flips or different things. So, bam, that's where I'm about at on the recruiting. Anything else from you guys?
I'll throw one more name out. We don't have to see film, but we mentioned him, Kevin Wynn. He does have a prediction rating of 6 out of 10 right now for Florida State out of Greene County, Greensboro, Georgia.
Right, and that's the one that he's a little bit more confident than me, but I would love to have him in this class. I mean, he's 6'2", 320 pounds, top 200 player in the nation, number 29 player in Georgia, I believe. So yeah, if we could get Kevin Wynn in here and Myron Charles, I mean, shoot, if you can get 2 out of 3 of Myron Charles, Kevin Wynn, and Jalen Wiggins, be doing pretty damn good right there in the middle. So we'll see how that turns out for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if that's it on recruiting, unless, we can always come back to it. We will open up for questions.
Did we go in on the kid from Tallahassee, or did I totally blank?
You talking about Jalen Wiggins? Wiggins, we did. We touched on it.
We did? Okay. I totally blanked. Sorry. Somebody asked in the chat, and I totally blanked.
Okay. Yeah.
But I do think that he flips from Florida to Florida State. I 100% do. There we go.
Yeah. I did not mention the tally part, but yeah, Jalen Wiggins, he's one of those 3 defensive linemen we were just talking about. Between him, Myron Charles, and Kevin Wynn, I think you could get 2 out of the 3. If you could do that, that would be huge. And anytime you can flip a player from Georgia, that's huge. Whether it's here in a couple of days or whether it's, somewhere during the season or after the season, it doesn't matter. We'd love to see him come home to Florida State. That would be a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I guess we can move on now. We will open up the line for questions and things later, but we have got to talk about the ACC and the rumors behind the scenes. We have been covering the court case a lot more sparingly here the past couple months just because, man, it is a lot. I've read hundreds upon hundreds of legal documents and all these things. We had the lawyers on. We were having Rohan on once or twice a week, Danielle Kelly on once. We've really been covered it. We really wanted you guys to kind of know exactly what's going on and what to look forward to and not know it's just a bunch of bullshit, a bunch of rumors, things like that. Well, more and more here the past couple months, it's really the word that's coming back is, the court is one thing, but it's just not going to get done. That's going to take years. The real work is getting done, and people taking flights across the countries and eating burgers and whatever the case may be. However these backroom chats go on, however the communication happens, that's where the real work is being done between ESPN and ACC and FSU. And we're not going to have minutes. We don't have minutes from any meetings we can share. Don't have quotes we can give you. But what we can tell you is that, like we've been telling you this entire time, Florida State will not be in ACC for the long run. They will not be in the ACC for the long run. We've been telling you here, we think it's the Big Ten. We've told you a million different reasons why, between working towards AAU membership, the medical research facilities, the Big Ten leadership conferences, the trips to Chicago, Mike Alford's kind of history. Like, there's so many different things, the academic prowess of the university and where it would be if you put it in the Big 12 or the SEC versus the Big 10 and where it is currently in the ACC. There's so many reasons. Florida State being an any place, anywhere kind of team. If they go to the SEC, that's great. They'd be another team in the SEC in the Southeast. But if they go to the Big 10, they would be the team in the Southeast. They would have a gigantic advantage. So we obviously lean that way. I lean that way, Big 10. But you're starting to see, again, like I said, a little bit of corroboration. It's not just us. All of a sudden, the people that said we're crazy and crying a foul and screaming conspiracy theory for no reason, all of a sudden now they're doing videos. Now they're selling subscriptions on their YouTube channel and doing VIP audio only things, talking about this stuff, posting memes on Twitter with cups getting vibrated as Josh Pate did there, like in Jurassic Park. It's just really not up for discussion. These people aren't popping up and saying these things anymore. It's just pretty much known. Florida State is getting the F out, and even more than Clemson. Clemson's also a part of that, but kind of Jim Phillips himself came out and pretty much conceded. He didn't say Florida State, he didn't say this or that, but he said, yeah, it's going to have to happen. The ACC is going to have to be restructured. So I gave my little spiel to open up. We can start with Jen and get both of you guys' opinion on this, and then we can get into it. I'll open the lines for questions. We can go back and forth, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So my opinion, obviously, is Florida State is not going to be in the ACC. Like, this writing was on the wall 2 years ago. It's actually been on the wall for a couple years. I don't want to say the snub made things go quicker. I think they were going very quickly before the snub. I think they saw that one coming. I think they knew they were being left in the dust. And I think that's why they moved quicker. I think that's why Clemson was working behind the scenes. Now, Florida State was the only one ahead of the scenes, like in front of the scenes, in front of the cameras, because, we love to be villains. We love it. It doesn't bother us. We don't mind doing it. We are the killer in the TV show, and we don't mind it. We love the Scream. The Scream mask is our mascot or whatever. We're totally fine with it. So, Clemson wanted to stay behind and hold our purse. Cool. I'm so glad you joined us now. However, this conference is going down the tube. They have been sucking money off of us, off of Florida State and Clemson for years. And you have sorry teams like Wake Forest, Syracuse, just the losers of the losers. NC State can't win a damn thing in their life. And they're sitting over here, oh, please, Mother, may I have some more water? No, we're tired of giving you water, okay? We need water. We want our own water. We need to carry our water reserves. We're tired of supplying your doomsday bunker, okay? We need our own doomsday bunker. Stop coming up in here and taking all our tuna fish and peanut butter and water and everything. We need to survive too. We cannot be helping you guys. I feel like it's the ants and the crickets, right? It's the ants that continue to do the work and the crickets come in and steal all your food and all the stuff. And you're just supposed to be like, okay, fine, as long as we can all get along. No, fuck you. We've been working. Y'all aren't working. Work, win some games, win something, do something, be productive. Stop living off the teat of Florida State and Clemson. Worry about your damn selves. Thank you. That's what I have to say.
Preach it.
I'll just add this, George. I think Alfred said it. I won't say it verbatim, but he's like Florida State will not be second fiddle in the state anymore. We will no longer concede to the team in Gainesville, the program of the university in Gainesville, and it's time to break through. We've done more with less for decades, and it's time to get our just due to play amongst the rest of the blue bloods, because we're considered a new blood. There's an argument there, but if you want to be amongst the big boys, you got to play at the big boy table, and we deserve a spot at the big boy table. We always have. That's all I have to say.
The fact that Vanderbilt gets a spot is the most egregious thing I think I could possibly imagine. And the fact that a team like Wake Forest sits back and goes, what about us? Maybe you and Vanderbilts of the world should just get together and suck off each other, okay? Because that's all you're good for. Because it ain't winning, it's not being important, and it's not doing anything. Why don't you be lawyers and doctors? That's what you're good at. Not running football or basketball or anything else. Leave us alone. We like to watch our sports. We don't want to watch this garbage that you guys do. So please, leave us alone.
Facts on top of facts. It's really, I mean, they're so heated, and they've got so much invested into this conference. It's like, if you really don't believe that we're carrying it, if you really think we're conceited and all these things, then you should just want us to just go. What are you worried about? But one of the biggest things that has been the common retort that has kind of gone away, thanks to some good reporting from all of us, from Chris, from our guy James Coleman, who just popped in to ask what we were lying about. Well, we went ahead and dropped 8 crystal balls, so we got 8 commitments coming up here that we might have lied about. We'll see. And now we're lying about conference realignment. But where I was going with that is, this is not something new. It's not like, oh, well, you signed the contract. That's what everybody said, and now you're mad. Now all of a sudden that you're not making enough money. No. Well, Matt Baker of the Tampa Bay Times, who's done a great job covering the court case, covering the AG's lawsuit against the ACC and ESPN, all these different things. He did a story the other day about a thing that was sent to the ACC where, somebody from Florida State is talking about, hey, are we really comfortable with our TV rights and things? And this is back in 1995. Back in 2011, 2012, when the grant rights got extended, Bud Elliott, Tomahawk Nation, Ingram Smith, that whole bunch over there did a bunch of amazing work telling everybody exactly what the hell is going on. Like, no, this is crazy. This is a terrible contract. Anybody that hung around Tomahawk Nation back in those days all knew it. We all knew exactly what was coming down. That's why this has been such a huge conversation. Back in the day, it was FSU to the Big 12. That was the big controversy. After Maryland left to the Big 10, we wanted to go over there and be with Oklahoma and Texas. And hell, if that would have happened back then, who knows what would have changed? That could have been a great conference that could have battled the SEC and the Big 10. Who knows? Maybe they get a couple of those Pac-12 teams to join in. But for whatever reason, the Pac-12, the Big 12, and the ACC, all three sat on their ass. They all thought they were just going to be able to keep riding this thing forever. And all of a sudden, now the ACC's up against it. And now that public perception has changed, they have literally 5 lawsuits open right now. Or more, 5. I mean, you got Clemson, you've got Florida State here, Florida State there, you've got Florida State appeal, you've got the AG bar. There's just so many different things. As James says, he remembers FSU, the Big 12. Those were the days, man. That was a lot of fun, a lot of dreaming and things back then.
Yeah.
If you'd have told me back then that it would be the Big 10, that you're going to be screw the Big 12, screw the SEC, you're going to want to go to the Big 10, I would have told you were crazy. But hey, here we are.
Not I said the fly. Not I said the fly. That money in the Big 10 was too damn good, darling. Because if I would have thought the Big 10 back in those days would have been interested in Florida State, I would have been the first one just driving my car up to Ohio State. Like, let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
It wasn't that way back then, though. That's the thing. We had more money than them back then. I could be mistaken, but yeah, it's from my point of view,
I think at least 10 million more, I think, a year. I mean, they were pretty, they were ahead of the ACC. It wasn't as huge of a difference. But again, knowing what we know now, yes, absolutely. I would have been the first one in that car. Although I've hated the ACC for so long, I can't even go back to it. Like when Florida State decided to join this sorry ass piece of crap conference, I was like, why? I mean, I will never forget it. I did kind of want them to go to the SEC. It felt like it was just a dumb move, and I get why they did it. They thought they would be treated better in the ACC than they would be in the SEC because there was a lot of objections to Florida State joining the SEC. It wasn't like it was so welcoming with open arms as people want to remember it from the SEC saying, "Oh, Florida State turned them down. You get exactly what you deserve." It was not very welcomed. They were being so hated on by the media for doing it. It was, "You're going to mess up this beautiful SEC conference. You don't need to, Florida," all the things. I mean, all these rednecks in the SEC are just so obnoxious. And I mean, it wasn't like they were welcomed with open arms at the time. So I get why they made the decision. They just didn't know that they would be treated so horribly in favor of teams who are losers, absolute losers in everything. There you go. They had no idea, and nor should they have.
You're
welcome.
just disparaging the fastest growing fan base in the nation. Those Wake Forest fans, I'll tell you what, they are on one. They have some school pride all of a sudden. They're on all these damn chats. It's like it was supposed to be the All Canes conference. We saw how that worked out. They really did shit the bed. Bringing in Stanford and SMU and all that. That was the final straw. Just get us out of here. We are just there's too many slaps in the face. Oh, well, now oh my gosh, maybe we can pull this up. I'll try to get this pulled up. Did y'all see the meme where it's like a video and it's some like a movie thing, but it's just FSU getting slapped with thing after thing. It's like college football snub, less playoff money, less automatic bids, just over and over. It's like there's just way too many things that have added up. It's just time to get the fuck out. There is nothing about it. It's just there are now a lot of rumors. Supposedly, I don't know if you guys seen this. ESPN is supposedly working with FSU, Clemson, and UNC to work something out. I guess it would be to get them to the SEC. We talked about this a little bit in pre-production. I believe that could happen. I believe that ESPN could reach out to do something like that. But I have a hard time believing with all the shit that FSU has had with ESPN and how a lot of these problems with the ACC were by proxy through ESPN and these, ultimatums that were supposedly given out and things hidden and all those things. So I think that it's more akin to what Clemson did to the ACC. And we actually have these emails out again, thanks to Matt Baker. Matt Baker has, he gets the request out, and you can see the back and forth between Clemson and the ACC saying, "Oh yeah, we're on your side. We won't do anything, and we won't sue. We're with you. Yeah, fuck Florida State. All these things, right up until the point where they did, just to keep them off their back. If I had any idea of what happened, that would be my same thing there. FSU speaking with ESPN, yeah, maybe we can do this, yada yada, until the day they come out and say Florida State will be leaving and we're going to the Big Ten. So
exactly. I concur, man. I have nothing else to say. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think Florida State and ESPN are working together in any sort of the terms. No. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I hate that bad blood. It is so bad between them right now, especially with the AD and all these people getting involved with ESPN. It's gotten worse and worse, and it gets worse as the days go on. And again, the ACC whining about Clemson, like, "Oh, they blindsided me. Oh, clutch your pearls." It's the only ballsy thing I've ever seen Clemson do in 25 years. Good for you. I'm glad you screwed over the ACC. If you were lying to them, good for you. I'm happy for it. I'm here for it. I'd like to see the meetings in that meeting, like the minutes in that meeting too. I want to hear how whiny they were when they found it out. I think that'd be hilarious.
Yeah. I believe one of the people I saw on Twitter who posted that rumor was a Miami guy. So, I mean, I believe it was one of those news kind of guys that posted it because they presented it as if Miami was going to be the ones to go to the Big Ten and FSU ended up in the SEC. So, you take that with a grain of salt.
I think Miami hopes that happens because if
breaking news.
We got
Sorry,
If
go ahead.
Florida State, if Florida State goes to the SEC, that gives Miami a better shot in getting into the Big Ten. I think that we all know that's why Miami fans and anybody else associated with Miami is putting that out there. That's to give the Miami fans hope that they don't have at this point. Now, do I think Miami could join the Big? I think Miami is stuck in the ACC for at least another couple of years, and I think we'll have to see how conference realignment works. Do I think that they will totally be left out of the Big Ten or the SEC going down the road? I do think in the SEC, yes. I think that is the answer is 100% yes.
Heard it here.
I see it.
I
see it,
I
George.
think with the Big
Jen.
Ten, I would not be surprised if Miami is invited in a couple years down the road.
100%.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I agree.
But they will not be in this round.
100%. So breaking news here on the timeline. A name we brought up as a possible flip on Tuesday, I believe it was. Somebody that my guy Deshawn's really high on. Jabari Slime Antone, aka Booby, I believe they call him, is a 6'2", 185-pound cornerback from New Iberia, Louisiana, ranked as the top 65 recruit per On3. And I've lost it in my notes. I'm not sure where he is with 247, but he has decommitted from LSU. So being a Louisiana kid, you decommit from LSU. Big chance Florida State can get in there. It's a really natural kind of move there. I look at LSU as kind of the FSU in the SEC over there. When you look at their kind of what they've done with defensive backs throughout the years, he says it's Miami, Florida State, and LSU moving forward. So what do you think, man? Are you ready to put in a Crystal Trophy? How are you feeling? Do you think Florida State, is he a perfect match to go with Arno on the other side?
Oh, yeah. I'll just throw a little time. It possibly could be SFE to Tally, so I'm going to leave it at that.
SFE to Tally. Man, SFE, it ain't just the wide receivers. We talked about that on Tuesday, I think, too. Peep game. Like, it ain't just the wide receivers, just as many of the corners and safeties and linebackers that ever play over there. They make it from SFE to the league, too. A lot of them go to Ohio State, unfortunately, but we try to get a couple of them to Florida State, and Booby would be a big one. Sorry to cut you off there, Jim, but we just had to make sure we snuck that in.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. I do think that kid has does he have a good relationship with Yak?
I'm pretty sure that's definitely his area.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
And he does not have any relationship with anyone on the Miami staff, if I'm not mistaken.
I guess you put it as relationships get built, but as far as his relationship,
like a current,
and then with Pat, it's been solid, and we're in the recruitment before he even committed to LSU. So when he opens it back up, then we got a shot. And that's why I look at it. I mean, I'm not worried about DBs with Pat, though. I'm not.
No. I would be worried about DBs if I was a Miami fan.
If you're picking Miami over Florida State and Pat Surtain, whatever, go on down the road. It's a LSU FSU match.
That's like a quarterback picking Billy over Mike. Like, go on, let's enjoy our lives. You know what I mean?
Right.
We're all good in the hood over here. Okay, we'll be fine.
Boy,
you
I'm
on
glad
the other
I
end will
decided to
transfer in a
scroll.
year.
That is awesome. Well, guys, this has been one hell of an episode. I really like that we got to cap that off. The phone line hasn't rang. We're right here at 58 and a half minutes. We have 601 people live watching the show. Most of that's on Twitter, 430 people over there, like 170 on YouTube. Everybody that's on YouTube, we really appreciate you. If you could go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, it's 100% free. You have no idea how huge that is for the channel. Be able to keep you guys informed. We really want you guys to be able to have fun and learn some stuff as a die-hard Noel, somebody that's really into this, and also as somebody who just likes to hang out. We want you guys, as a casual fan, to come here and have some fun. So also the 400 and something, what is the matter?
You good? Go ahead. You good?
The 400 something people that are also live on X, please jump over to YouTube and hit that like and subscribe button over there. Even if you're not going to watch there, just come visit every once in a while. It really, really helps the channel. We got our first caller live on the line here. You are live with the Renegade Rundown. What can we do for you?
Yeah, George. Hey, I've been following y'all guys for a while, and one thing I have to say is Jim was right. The only way Miami have a chance of getting into the Big Ten is if Florida State was going to the SEC. The way I see this, Miami's going to wind up going to the Big 12. They should be thankful that somebody wants them because they've been irrelevant for 20 plus years. I mean, how ironic it is for the president, the former president, should jump ship to go to UCLA, a Big Ten school, after he sued Florida State, agreed and gave the vote to sue Florida State, and he jumped over to the Big Ten. If anything, they should be mad at him. He's doing more damage to Miami. Miami should have never been against a Florida school. How can you go against a Florida school?
Yep. And they can't say shit because we got it in black and white. We know they damn sure done it, man.
And look here, they're so desperate to win to remain relevant, they're overpaying players down there.
Hey, man, we sure appreciate it, and we agree 100%. The other folks that are calling it, just know that, you have to wait for the other person to get off the line, so we're not ignoring you. But any shout-outs or anything while we got you on the line? All right, I think he hung up. We'll go to the next caller. You are live with the Renegade Rundown. Go ahead.
Hey, guys, this is Cornelius. From South Carolina.
What's up, Cornelius?
Hey, I'm been loving the show. My opinion, and I see the trajectory of Florida State is going up, and I think that, I say this, and I know some people may. And I know a lot of people agree with me on this. I think that 2018 Florida State should have hired Norvell over trying to get Taggart, and Taggart, besides him, Taggart won the Florida State job, and basically he was thirsting for it. And I think that, and I'll be honest with you, I was rooting for Taggart, but seeing what happened at Florida State, then at FAU, it proved to be a bad choice. But this is another thing. Florida State should run to the Big Ten.
Hey, man, we agree with you on all counts, man. We definitely agree, and we appreciate you for calling in, and we will catch you next time, Cornelius. I believe we have a regular.
Thank you.
I believe we have a regular here on the line. And right before you take off, Tiny Hat, I got to read James's comment here because this is what Jim was laughing at when she had to pop off the screen earlier. We talked about Myron Charles, Kevin Wynn, and Jalen Wiggins, thinking maybe we get 2 out of 3. I'm high on Charles. Deshawn was high on Kevin Wynn as far as signing or committing soon. Well, James Coleman says his big black magic balls calls for Wiggins to flip to Florida State from Florida. So you heard it here first. And now we've got my guy on the line, Tiny Hat. What's going on, my man?
Oh, nah.
Oh shit, this is James.
What's up, 36?
I just seen the 904 number. What's up, James?
Long time listener, first time calling. You know how they doing on radio? But nah, man, good show, man. Love the energy, love the stuff. I was just hanging out here on this good Sunday. Got this day the Lord has made, and just vibing, man. Good stuff, man.
Man, we appreciate you for calling in for sure, man.
Just
James
to clarify,
he's always welcome to come through.
I always tell my friends when I see them talking, like, hey, man, what y'all lying about today? I always say, it's not that you're actually lying. It's just, I always just introduce, just say that to people. But good stuff, man. But yeah, man, recruiting is about to get spicy. I know a lot of people have been really complaining, and it's a lot of negative stuff, and just, we don't really do the best as a media or as a fan base in general. I don't want to just blame the media, but where we defend each other about stuff, or even like, I actually had to go Google, like look it up. I thought Florida and Miami were just whipping ass. Like I thought Miami had the #1 recruiting class, but then I realized they're like 35 with 6 4-stars and 3 3-stars, or some shit like maybe 4 3-stars and 6 4-stars. So they're on that trend of bringing in a lot of mid. So they're going to sign a lot of people again. And Florida is ranked 69th with 6 commits, and we're ranked 70th with 4 commits, with I think a 94.6 per prospect rating with some more guys coming in and guys shutting down their recruitment. I think we'll get some really good news here about a guy that everybody, for whatever reason, has been listening to everybody else except for the guy who probably knows the kid the most. But, we'll get some good news here in a couple of days so people can shut the fuck up.
Let's go.
Money on the floor.
But, like I said, man, yeah, a lot of people. I'm not going to pick on anybody, but again, it's about to get interesting. There are some guys who are not going to get, and that's just part of the game. But it should be really exciting from now all the way up until probably like it'd be like it's not. Don't quote me on it, but it will feel like a commit or two a day, all the way up until the 4th of July. So our class will be pretty full going into the season.
Yeah, we called out. That makes 9 that have been predicted, 9 or 10 that's been predicted on the show, and plus you got Josh Petty on August 12th. We appreciate the nuggets. We appreciate you jumping in. But while we got you on the line, we do need to let people know about your book bag drive. If you drop that link in the chat, or I'll just go grab it off the page. We'll get it in the description. But I believe Atlanta, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville, you're trying to do something like 4,000 backpacks for the young kids.
Yeah, we're doing 4,000 bags. Right now, we're 3,900 short. So, but we just really just started doing everything. It'll go quick once we start getting a lot of these businesses donating. But it's full 501c3 mentors for the kids. You could go to my pin suite. It has or Cash App, money sign MFCK 36, $36 a bag. The kid gets a bag with 9 weeks worth of school supplies and about a week's worth of groceries in the 3 main places. There will be some book bags given to Atlanta, but I won't be a part of that. I'm just giving those book bags to my guy Grimes. And he has a book bag drive that he does up there. But it's the thing I do. I do it to celebrate. It's what I do for my birthday. My birthday is July 26th, and this will be the 5th year in a row. I turned 40 this year, so my 40th birthday, I figured 4,000 book bags is a pretty solid number for my 40th birthday. So, no donations too small. You can give away school supplies. If you don't trust it, I get it. The only reason I do it is I don't trust nonprofits. So I started my own nonprofit so that I can get the tax write-off. But we will give, I don't know how, but we always get to the number. We will give away 4,000 bags. Last year we did 3,600. This year we get 4,000. Every year we kind of go up a little bit by little bit. So it's fun. If you don't have the money, you got the time. We need volunteers for the Tallahassee. Orlando's the 20th. Tallahassee's the 27th and the 28th. 28th, we have a football camp. We will have some current Seminole players work the football camp for me. In Jacksonville, I believe it's August 3rd is the book bag drive food distro. And then the 4th is whatever that Saturday, Sunday. That Sunday will be the football camp at Edward Waters College, and a middle school parent and coaches symposium where you can learn about academics, learn about proper nutrition, learn about how to prepare your kids to become the next best 5-star prospect, as well as if you're a Pop Warner coach, you'll have Mandarin high school coaches be there to be able to talk about learning the game while kids are all training.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Make sure you guys, we'll get the link again in the description. We appreciate you calling in, James. And again, he's at Big Game James _36 on X. You can check out all the stuff over there, but we will get that link for you. And thanks again, James.
All right, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, James.
Maybe we can get him on for a full show here soon.
That's an awesome cause too, by the way. All kids need these types of supplies. They need their book bags. They need everything. What COVID did to these schools and the ability for the teachers to provide for children and for families. Any help you can give is huge. And believe me, these children need it at this time. So
100%. Look, what makes a good person? What makes a humanitarian? Whatever, who knows? Who knows who's a really good person? Who's this? Who's that? Everybody wants to sit in judgment and things like that. All I know about James Coleman and coming up on 3-4 years that I've known him personally, is stuff like this, putting on the tailgates, raising money for kids, what he's done with the 501c with MFTK and everything else. There is no better fund. There is no better charity to do than to invest into this backpack drive and the different things he does, because he really gets out there on the streets. The money goes to the book bags. He'll probably end up pulling out of his pocket every time he does stuff like this. So, and him being a former Florida State Seminole, being able to get those current players, former players, and stuff like that, especially for kids around Tallahassee and Jacksonville and Atlanta, these different areas. These are their heroes they looked up to. And if you're like somebody like myself who grew up with a single mom for most of his life and things like that, all that stuff is huge. It helps. So all for it, not to go too deep in on that. Spear Addicts throws up a comment saying that he has 17 commits between now and August 4th. So that would be 7 or 8 more than we have, kind of like, chalk, kind of like we really think that we have predicted to go to Florida State. That's even more so. Super hyped up. He was talking about the bags that have got dropped and everything that's going on. He had Ingram Smith on not that long ago. We're still trying to get Ingram to possibly come on this show sometime. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. We had Jaden Floyd on here just the other day, who has transferred out. He was a preferred walk-on in the 2021 class. Big guy in the locker room, of course, his father being William Floyd. One of the voices of IMG football radio there for Florida State. He sat next to Gene Deckerhoff forever. So go check that episode out. A lot of good insight kind of behind the program, what it's like in that locker room, playing for Coach Norvell and some of the different guys. So we talk about it all. We talked a little baseball when that was going on. We love taking your calls. Anything I've missed, anything y'all want to talk about before we get out of here? It's like almost a shame to get off of here. We got 630 people live according to StreamYard right now.
I think it's funny that the Tennessee fans have dropped. Where'd they go?
Right?
Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Where'd y'all go? That's wild. I mean, I was really looking forward to being threatened with incest or whatever it is you guys do. I don't. I'm a little worried. Maybe we should do a check-in on these weirdos that were all over our show for the last 2 weeks, because I dared to say that their program hasn't been relevant at the same time that Miami hasn't, by the way. And I don't think I was lying. I mean, where was the lie? Has anybody found it? I couldn't. But
sorry,
again,
I was lost in
that's
my
what
phone.
I would have to say. Where'd the Tennessee fans go? Where'd y'all go? Y'all busy? Are y'all busy?
Yeah, they go down all of a sudden. They get a little bit more quiet. As soon as that College World Series ends up, then they gotta get ready for football season. I imagine they'll leave us alone, but we'll see. If they come back and they want to, that'd be great. Chris says FSU will have a huge flip name coming in July. I have no doubt about it, and that's what we've been letting you guys know. We're talking about the ones we're allowed to talk about and the ones we know about, but nobody has more information than Chris or James. So yeah, look forward to a monster month of July, a monster class. The only reason that I'm not going to bet a bunch of money that this ends up being, say, a top 5 class is just because of the nature of how many guys we're going to get. Probably would be lower than some of these guys at the top that are going to sign 27, 28 high school kids will probably sign 22, 23, 24 at the most, and still do the transfer portal thing. But you want to talk about offensive line class? Nobody's going to have a better offensive line class. That's going to be a matter of opinion. Defensive line class is going to be right up there. Linebacker class is going to be the best one we've signed to date since Mike Norvell is going to have been here. It's going to be amazing. And then the next portal will be even better. I mean, it's a climb. We're only headed one direction. And the closer and closer we get to the season, it's funny, it's getting more. Florida State's climbing up the list of all these things. When it's just purely recruiting, when that's all everybody was talking about, that was it. But as we get closer and closer to the season, all of a sudden you're seeing Florida State in the top 10, a lot of these polls. Somebody dropped a stat, everybody's talking about returning production and things like that. Well, offensive line doesn't quote unquote produce, but we have, number 3, I like third returning starts on the offensive line. The offensive line is far and away going to be the best it's been. And we've explained this to you guys a lot, the way Florida State recruits. They don't have a formula that's 3 running backs, 2 linebackers, 4 O-line, 4. They get what they need for that year and what is available. So Chris says 2026 wide receiver class will be wild. Well, yeah, just like the 24 one was, and I'm sure we'll probably have a huge DB class in 2026 as well, and things of that nature. But in my opinion, Mike Norvell is absolutely killing it. The staff is killing it. I really can't wait for the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll probably pop up in the top 5 of recruiting for now. And like I said, people will start bitching again during the season when those numbers start popping up and our class technically slides down to the lower part of the top 10. But our average is going to be like 91, 92. It's going to be elite, period. So, yeah. That's that on that. Did I mention DeLeon McCutcheon? He's another one. I think that's the one recruit I didn't mention. He's a top 100 receiver, number 15 player in Texas. And he's somebody that Florida State could possibly get. I don't know a ton on that one, but he is somebody that they are recruiting hard.
Yeah, I'm still following too. Same as you, don't have so much in-depth information right now as far as him. Another name I'll throw out there, I believe CJ Wiley out of Georgia. Another wide receiver that they're looking at, but I know it's a recruitment also that is involved with Georgia too. So just throw those 2 names out.
Boom. Chris says, huge shout out to Atkins and Odell, by the way. I could not agree more. After all the shit talking, all the, kind of bullshit we've had to deal with people talking about them. Alex Atkins, like you're going to be seeing a lot of those cigar puffing memes coming out here later. I know Chris is probably going to make, I think it's $2,500 off this class, as long as it's just a top 5 offensive line class. I kind of wish maybe I would have taken that bet, but you got to have that cash to bet it. So
send me a Tomahawk steak.
That's right. That's right. You're taking us out to eat at the Memphis game or something for that.
Yeah.
Who, me?
No, Chris.
Or no, Chris. Okay.
Tiny Hat, I have 2% left on my phone. So, like, if you're gonna call, now is the time to do it. If you have any rants to get off as we near the end of the show. Tiny Hat's so stupid. Oh my God, Jen said my name. Literally co-host the show with her. That's the Renegade Roast. If you haven't checked that out, guys, if we have any people that are new to the channel or back for the first time in a while, as a lot of the people start to come back and we get closer and closer to football as all the other seasons in and we're only 60 something days away. The Renegade Roast is Mondays at 9:15 Eastern, hosted by Jen Santi and our good friend Ken, aka Tiny Hat CEO, aka at Interpope on Twitter. So catch that show. They've had one with the real coach JB. They've had the Utah Ute on this past week. A lot of fun stuff. Go check out some of those shows. And they really tore down the ACC in general. A little bit more of a serious episode they had with Utah Ute. They actually got into the numbers of, how all these teams are sucking off the udder of Florida State. I think he posted a short from their channel where he kind of repeated that. But yeah, the X-rated version of that is right there at the Renegade Roast. If y'all want to go check that out.
He said the udder.
we have quite a few X-rated versions of things. Although I think that he got into some crazy stuff over the weekend talking about the milk and the udders and all these things. I love him. He's fantastic. He's hilarious. I loved every minute of it. And they're not wrong. They're not lying.
Tiny Hat says he can tell we're getting close to the season because his nipples are getting hard. So we couldn't let that comment go unspoken. Morris Simmons says he can't wait to see the Big Ten logo on Bobby Bowden Field.
Yes,
that would be dope. What about those? I want to see the turquoise uniforms at night at Doak. I don't know what game they have to pull it out in. I know people aren't going to be happy. We've talked about that combination of the turquoise and the white and the different things and possibly being the new all whites when you're looking for silent commits and things of that nature. Everybody loves them damn things. I'm telling you, that video of the whole and whole offense lined up with Tramel Jones and all the offensive linemen and everybody else, like that might be the hardest freaking FSU picture I've ever seen. So really hope to see them bust them out in a game. I think that could be like a Oregon-esque type, recruiting thing over the next couple of years. That could become, the shit.
I love those uniforms. I'm sorry. I do. I know a lot of people don't like them. It seems to have taken some sort of, now people are coming around to them. The moment the basketball team came out with them a few years ago, I was like, holy crap, I've got to get one of these jerseys so bad. I think they're so fire. I love them. I think it's great. And, you can either wear them in a game or not, but I think it works in these little photo shoots and all the things. I have no problem with that. And I would have a problem with if they wore them in a game, but you better make sure it's a game like with the Wake Forest or like Syracuse or something where you can just absolutely demolish those losers, because otherwise those jerseys become unusable. You have to win on them the first time or they become unusable. We know this. We're sports fans. We're all superstitious. That is how it goes. Like, you cannot bring in these weird uniforms, jerseys, whatever you want to call them, and then lose. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Chris has a question. He says, does everyone know what the turquoise uni stands for? That's why I love them. I know that is more of the traditional color of, the Seminole Indians and things like that, but I don't know if there's a specific story there. So if there is an anecdote, you'll have to share that with us. But I do know that the colors that we have for the football team works better and everything. And that was what they came up with at the beginning. But I'm pretty sure turquoise that's much more what they wore in their garb and things like that.
It's also a special friendship and relationship with the Seminole tribe. So the color is a symbol of the relationship too with the university.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And again,
I'm sorry, Jen. Harmony, friendship, fellowship throughout the Native American communities. So it's also a universal color for the relationship that Native American different tribes have amongst each other.
Okay. Yep. Bam. There. I just looked it up. FSU uses the color turquoise to honor its friendship with the Seminoles tribe of Florida. Turquoise is a symbol of harmony, friendship, and fellowship in many Native American communities, and FSU has incorporated it into its athletic competitions known as Seminole Heritage Games. During these games, FSU football players, yada, yada. So beautiful, beautiful stuff there. So definitely there's your every reason in a million of years to do that. So bam.
Which I would just say again, use them for your first game where you can win. Like, you're going to win. It's a slam dunk. Please do not ever import these amazing uniforms with such meaning behind games that you could lose, right? Like, you don't, as sports fans, you cannot come in here with new uniforms and stuff and then lose the game. You just can't do it. You have to, I understand this sounds crazy. I really do. This is just how sports fans think about it, right? You want to use them in a game where it's going to be a blowout. Those jerseys, the uniforms, they get the glory they deserve. That's what I would say. Just make sure you do it that way.
That's the thing with like the All Blacks and things like that. You really have to, on one hand, you want to take into consideration who you're playing and you'd like to come out on a good end. But I think the solution to that is just don't do no special shit like that unless you're going 13-0 and winning the conference. Like things like that. Like, yes, this would be a good year to bust this shit out. The problem is we were busting out all them fancy uniforms in 07 and 08 and 09 when our defense couldn't stop anything and we were getting in our asses blistered. So yeah, I'm all for it right now, but maybe not the Clemson game. Maybe not the Notre Dame game, but any other game than that, I'm perfectly fine with it.
I say this also as a Memphis fan. Memphis did this all the time. John Calipari would say they lost in one of those uniform combinations, and you know what he did? Boxed them up, put them away. They were never seen again. Never, not one time. I mean, I'm only saying, like, because those uniforms and the turquoise means as much as it does, you just don't want to lose your first game. So please wisely use them. Use them for like San Jose State or whatever crap team you have to play. Do it the first time and then ease them in. You know what I mean? Ease them.
Totally fair take. Totally fair take on that. And Chris was the part that he was referring to earlier, along with it meaning harmony and all those things. It refers back to the Trail of Tears and getting the solidarity of Indians and stuff through that. So really look forward to hearing the full story of that. Chris obviously having some heritage there with American Indians and stuff like that. So really cool to hear. He says that we should be wearing it versus UF, in my opinion. That would be pretty cool. I mean, you've got the team that's like all about the swamp of Florida and the Gators and all that stuff. And then here you have the unconquered Seminoles of the state riding in on their horse with their spear and Chief Osceola and everything. So that would be cool to spear the Gators rocking those. I mean, that would be pretty dope. I have to agree, because that would be a team that sucks ass,
Yeah, and
and
I would say
probably
that's
only
a
win 5 or
guaranteed
6
win.
games.
So yeah, that's a guaranteed win. So yeah, you're going to get that in on a rivalry game. That makes that uniform, jersey, whatever you want to call it, absolutely lucky. Let's continue that. I agree with you, Chris. Good idea. Good idea. There's no way you lose to Florida this year. There's just none. Like, I'm sorry.
Insult to injury.
I could go play quarterback at Florida State and they would beat Florida. I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
Well, guys,
I think George agrees
believe.
with me. Deshawn, I think George is disagreeing with me, saying
No,
I
no,
could play
no.
quarterback for Florida State and we would still beat Florida. You were disagreeing.
No comment on that. I was just trying to transition, but I would never, never question your quarterback skills. I'm sure you're a regular Michelle Roque over here, just need opportunity. She's got the height. She can see over the offensive line. She could get it done. I have no doubts. So.
Hey,
I
George,
also know how to kick in the balls.
We just got a crystal ball for 6 out of 10 for Lewis.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Booby getting the crystal balls and the also the RPMs from On 3. So we shall see. That would be perfect if you could get Booby Lewis and Arno.
Did you say
as
Booby
we have
getting crystal balls?
Yep.
I'm sorry. That was just funny. That was a funny
That's
sentence.
his name.
My bad. I mean, I get it, but like, I get
well,
it,
you gotta have crystal balls to come compete in this DB room. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Byron, the running back out of Heritage that we discussed earlier, he got crystal ball to FSU.
Yeah. Byron, he's that's a lock. That's a lock on top of a lock. But also the Booby kid is I guess he didn't get a crystal ball, is what you're saying.
No, he didn't.
I got you. Yep. If I had to, he's one of the most I'm most confident in would be Byron Lewis, but we'll just see if it happens on June 30th or not.
Excellent.
But yeah, pun definitely intended on that one for sure.
Thank you.
Tate Rodemaker is decommitting from. Oh, never mind. This is a joke. Somebody put a thing. Hayes Fawcett talking about notable decommitments, and one of the Florida trolls said Tate Rodemaker is decommitting. Nope. He's not coming back.
From where? What? From SMU?
No, he didn't go to Southern Miss. Is where he went to.
Oh, Southern Miss. So even worse than SMU. My God.
Well, I think we have just about milked this one for what it's worth. We appreciate everybody from joining us. It's hard to even close these things out when you have such a huge number up there. But this was a great show. We're right here almost at an hour and a half. That's a good time to call it a day. So I'll give you an opportunity. If anybody calls in the last couple seconds, they can get through. If not, make sure, please hit that like and subscribe right here. Go follow everybody on Twitter. It's at Deshawn Adams 18, at Jen Santy 1890, at Renegade Report 1. Make sure you check out the Renegade the Renegade Roast Mondays at 9:15 Eastern, the Renegade Rundown Tuesday at 7 Eastern, Friday at 7 Eastern, and of course Sundays at 7 Eastern. You can also catch me, Chris Rager, and James Coleman on The Voice of College Football every Wednesday at 6 Eastern. You can catch Deshawn over at Double D's
Let's Talk Ball podcast. Let's Talk Ball podcast.
Just go ahead and post your thing one time real quick. Go ahead and for real. Go ahead and plug it one time. So I know
it's Double D's Let's Talk Ball podcast. You can catch us. We typically we'll go live on Fridays, but we will always air a show on Tuesdays to Friday. Between those two times, we talk all your NFL or pro. We're gonna get into Double D's gaming, all of that. So just look out.
Really good shit over there, guys. If you care about the NFL football game and want to get some good opinions, Deshawn brings a bit of a FSU focus, not focus, but slant. His friend, not so much. So it's really fun. They get into all that good stuff. William McMillian comes through with a $2 super chat right at the end and says, Cam Ward, we need you to fumble all season.
No worries. That
one. It'll probably happen, but yeah, definitely need him to. We'll let him fumble as much as he wants against us, but yeah, it's going to be tough for that poor guy down there. Did I miss anything? Did I get everything? Make sure you go. Go ahead.
I got one more. D's Corner. Also, my partner, his show goes even more in depth. That's DSCORNER. D's Corner. If you want to get a little bit more in depth NFL news. Thank you.
You heard it here first. I'll get the link to the MFTK book bag drive that James Coleman over at Den Media Group is doing, also at Spear Addicts. Make sure you go check out everybody's stuff. We're all a big family. Spear Addicts, Den Media Group, Garnet and Old. We all go on everybody's shows. We all have a good time. The Voice of College Football over there with Mark Rogers. Deshawn's channels that I won't butcher. The Renegade Rose, all of it. But again, we love you guys. We'll leave y'all with a little bit of Trub Life and the thumbnail for Jen and Ken's show there. And we'll see you guys tomorrow night with the roast.
First off, fuck Bama in the road tide. Fuck Tuscaloosa in every city that's close by. Bitch ass hillbilly redneck fans. Auburn almost caught y'all slacking like dress pants. Michigan trash, they ain't got a damn chance. Only Wolverine I respect is X-Man. Sheen ass coach got exposed, still in plays. Damn right I'm bitter, y'all sweeter than lemonade. Texas ain't shit to rave about. The Longhorns only good at a steakhouse. Had y'all like number 3, I was like, no way. Y'all lost to Oklahoma, which means y'all just okay. And Washington not important. Y'all be some ducks acting like that's vital as an organ. If we played y'all, we kick that ass Chuck Norris. Y'all stay boring. Only thing in that bitch is a forest. Let's set the record straight. Fuck your team if it ain't Florida State. 13-0, undefeated. Damn, what more it take? Denied our presence. That should be a crime. They jealous. Probably get in if the Gators wasn't 5. Miami better not say nada. Last time they won a championship,